What's going on, everyone? Ronan here, and welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's episode, I'm going to want you guys to take a look at this analytical stat bar right here. You guys already know the drill. Turn on notifications and hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment so that it'll feed the algorithm. But with all that being said, I want to welcome you guys to part 2 of season 2 of What If Ash Was Born in Kalos. I hope you enjoy. We begin our story today with Ash, Alexa, and Grant as they're trekking through the far northeastern areas of the Kalos region. They left Anastar City about 2 weeks ago, and after a brief stop in Ninimel Town, they decided to continue on down Route 15. It's here they find themselves at night, camping on the side of a road. There was rumors that a hotel on Route 15 had been active and was accepting travelers. Unfortunately, the group couldn't find it before nightfall. This leads them doing the only thing that they can, building a fire and setting up camp, as they lost all of their daylight to try and find this lost hotel. This gives the group time to reflect on everything that's been happening as of late. After all of the visions and warnings that Olympia gave to Ash and the things that Alexa had witnessed, this leaves the young reporter questioning her role in all of this stuff. Was it really worth it for her to get involved as deep as she is with this Team Flare? Unfortunately, she really can't talk to anybody about this, because as far as Ash and Grant knows, she's just another one of the gang. There's no way they would understand her association with Team Flare and the reasons why she would even bother getting involved with them in the first place. Because of this, there has been many nights where she finds herself growing more and more distant from the duo. While Ash and Grant do sympathize with her, because she's unwilling to really open up to them and to let them know what's bothering her, they really can't do anything. I mean, they still talk with her, but it's often found that they're the ones who are conversating more and training together, while Alexa just kind of hangs out in the background, as she doesn't really have anywhere to turn. This is where she finds herself many a night, like tonight, wishing and longing for her sister. At least her sister is somebody that she could always talk to. Unfortunately, tonight is one of those nights where she wishes that her sister was here more than ever, as Ash and Grant are deep in conversation. However, the topic isn't really one that usually comes up. Grant is telling Ash that it's been a long while since he's actually caught a new Pokemon. While Ash does confirm this, he says he's not really in a hurry to catch anything new. The team that he has is still pretty good, as well as the fact that he doesn't really know everything about half of them, considering this new information of them being tied to the legendary trio of Kalos, especially Quilladin. That cryptic warning that Olympia gave him, it keeps replaying in his mind. However, he doesn't really have all the information to go on, so he's gonna have to wait before he can actually decipher what all of those warnings meant. Unfortunately for the trio, their peaceful night is about to be interrupted when cries and eerie sounds can be heard from off in the brush, deep within the woods that line the sides of the Route 15. Ash, Grant, and Alexa can't quite place their fingers on it, but there's something out there. It feels like they're being watched, and unfortunately, this has brought all of their nightly activities to a halt. They don't really feel like they're going to be able to get anything done or really any rest for the night unless they go and investigate this. This effort is spearheaded by Grant, who, at the urge of him, his friends follow deep into the brush. However, they don't have to trek very far from the trail when they come across a building that is just a shadow in the night. No light whatsoever emanates from it, and outside is a sign that reads Route 15 Hotel, and in red letters underneath it reads vacancy. However, from the looks of it, no one has been here in a very long time. Alexa begins to question if this is the hotel that she had heard about in Ninimel Town, to which Grant thinks that it is. However, I don't know where anybody would have gotten the notion that people would be staying here for an hour, let alone a night. Ash seconds this, but whatever the sound that they were hearing, it seems to have been coming from this hotel. However, they don't really hear anything now, and since whatever it was seems to have gone off on its own, Alexa urges the group just to go back to camp. They can finish out the night and then get an early start in the morning. This seems like a good idea at this point. That is, until they can hear the sound, a cry that is louder than it was before, and it's emanating from the heart of the hotel. Unfortunately, it's not a cry of happiness or of sadness. It sounds like a cry of pain, like someone or something is in trouble. Now this has Ash's full attention. He is at the forefront of this, spearheading anything that they do. He urges his friends to go check it out, and in an effort to make things a little bit easier, he sends out both Absol and Slugma. He tells his friends that they should split up. They'll be able to cover more ground. Him and Absol will go in through the front. He then tells Alexa to take Slugma, as it'll allow her to see in the dark, while Grant sends out his Tyrant, and they head in from the east side. With that, the friends decide to split up, heading inside of the hotel to try and find any sign of this eerie noise, so that way they can get back to what they were doing for the night and possibly get some rest. After what seems like an hour of searching, the trio have all come up empty-handed. The sound has even stopped again. With nothing else left to go on and no evidence of anything really happening, the group decides to rendezvous back at the front. First to leave the hotel is Grant and Alexa. They have the longer walk as they went to the back and kind of worked their way up to the front, to where Ash had kind of just started at the front to work his way to the back. While they do exit simultaneously right around the same time, they are caught with the same cry, a much louder version this time, and it's at the epicenter of where Ash was. They don't know what it is, but they know it can't be good, and chances are Ash is at the middle of something. With no other options, the two rush back inside of the hotel to try and find the source of this eerie scream. This is where we move over to Ash. He has found himself in a dark room, and Absol has clued into something. At the center, the noise is ringing an ear-piercing cry. Ash doesn't know what it is. However, Absol, being a dark type, has the ability to, well, see in the dark, and it isn't fazed by whatever this is. Without hesitation, it launches a Psycho Cut off into the darkness. The aim of the disaster Pokemon holds true, as whatever its target was is then silenced. It seemed that Absol hit its target. However, the silence is short-lived, as an ear-piercing cry rings out through the room, louder than ever before. This is the cry that both Grant and Alexa heard. Ash does his best to fumble around in the dark, trying to find the source of this, until he comes across something that is small, and it feels like it's kind of heavy, but like it's made of trash. Whatever it is, this thing is definitely the source of the sound. Ash begins to squint in the dark, trying to focus his eyes to see whatever this is. This reaction gets one that he wasn't expecting, as a pair of eyeballs are staring back at him, causing the boy to flinch and drop whatever he was holding. This causes whatever it was to scurry off deeper into the darkness, to which Absol gives chase. Absol, wait, Ash yells, but it's too late. The dark type is gone, and now Ash really can't see anything. Luckily for him, he sees a brief light off in the darkness, and this is Alexa approaching with Slugma. The fire type is able to light the way. After meeting up with his friend, he relays what was happening. Something or someone is in here, and whatever it is seems to be scared, Ash says. He then points in the direction that Absol had taken off. Both he and Alexa then take off in that same direction. This just leaves Grant barely trailing behind, as Tyrant is using its oversized nostrils to sniff out the scent of their friends. Back with Ash and Alexa, they are slowly following the path that Absol had left. There seems to be scratch marks, like it was firing Psycho Cuts to mark the way that it traveled. This eventually leads them to a door that appears to be smashed in, like something had crashed through it. It must have been Absol. Peering inside, Ash can make out the silhouette of something in the dark. Once he orders Slugma to brighten its flames, he can see that this is Absol, and it seems to be scratching at a hole in the wall. Absol, what's going on? The dark type signals to Ash that whatever it was seems to have run into this hole. So Ash decides that it may be in their best interest if they just leave it alone. He then tells Absol to come on. They have to go. They can't spend all night trudging around this hotel in the dark. It's not in their best interest, especially if in the morning they're going to have to wake up early to hit the road before they can get to their next gym battle. Reluctantly, the dark type turns, obeying the command of its trainer. However, this is met by a cry that seems to be unsatisfied that Ash and his Pokemon are leaving, and the cry just gets louder and louder and louder until Ash and Alexa are both doubled over on the ground, unable to really do anything. This is where Absol begins to act. Using all of its might, it fires its most powerful Psycho-Kite at the wall, causing the hole to become larger. As the wall begins to crumble around, Ash and Alexa can make out what seems to be a Pokemon, and it is bawling its eyes out, crying, like it's in need of its mother. Ash then pulls out his Pokédex, and it reveals that this Pokemon is a Trubbish, a poison-type Pokemon, and they often live in dark and damp places. Then the Pokédex makes a remark that this Trubbish seems to be on the younger side, to which Alexa remarks that it must have just recently hatched. It must be lost. Well, whatever the reason, we can't just leave it here, Ash says, and we have to do something about that crying. With no other option, Ash throws a Pokeball at it. As it strikes Trubbish on the head, this silences the little trash bag, as it's unsure of what just happened, before it's swallowed by a flash of light. After 3 shakes, the Pokeball comes to a rest, as Ash's Pokédex registers Trubbish as his newest capture. This then prompts the Pokédex to trigger something that Ash has never seen before. It's asking for him to choose what Pokemon that it wants to send to Professor Sycamore. Wait, what's going on? Why is the Pokédex asking me to send a Pokemon away? This is where Alexa is able to fill things in for Ash. Once he has more than 6 Pokemon, it's going to trigger the Pokemon storage system to send whatever remaining Pokemon he has off to whoever gave him the Pokédex, which in this case, it's Professor Sycamore. Well, actually, Ash says, it wasn't Professor Sycamore that gave me the Pokédex. It was Lysander. So I would imagine that they would go to Lysander Labs. This catches Alexa's attention. Really now? I didn't know Lysander specialized in Pokédexes. I didn't know either. That was until I met Lysander when he gave me Absol. You see, he also was the one to give me the Pokédex, and he said that he partnered with Sycamore on the creation of it. Well, you're gonna have to make a choice. The Pokédex isn't gonna let you choose, and eventually it'll make the option for you. With no other option, Ash chooses to send his Cloudser for the time being, as he really hasn't had any use for it as of late. And besides, if this Trubbish is as young as the Pokédex said it was, he's going to need to spend some time with it to get it used to him, especially at the suggestion of Alexa. Now that those two have figured out what exactly the problem was, they then make their way to go meet up with Grant, to which the Rock-type gym leader is more than happy to finally be able to see in the dark. This is where Ash and Alexa inform him of everything that's been happening, and how Ash has finally got a new capture. This pleases Grant, as him and Ash were actually just talking about this before they came in, but Ash isn't really as pleased. He comments that he feels like he has abandoned Cloudser, and unfortunately, it was abandoned when he got it, so he's hoping that it's okay with being transferred away. Grant tells him that he's sure that Cloudser is fine. After all, Ash hasn't really given up on it. He didn't leave it in some random Pokemon Center. He just sent it away so that way it can be studied at Lysander Labs. So he's sure that it'll be fine. If he would like, when they get to their next stop, Ash can call just to make sure that it's fine. This comment eases Ash's mind and allows them to depart from this lost hotel back to their campsite. And for the rest of the night, everything is really uneventful, allowing the group to get some much needed rest. Over the next few days, as the trio head to their next destination, which just so happens to be the site of Ash's next badge in Lavier City, he gets to know Trubbish a little bit more. It is indeed a baby and requires a lot of attention. It's very curious about everything and likes to do nothing but really play with all of the rest of his Pokemon. While some of them don't really have an issue with this, others are a little bit more apprehensive. Really, this comes down to Absol and Rampardos. Those two really don't have a playful bone in their body, and it's shown when all they do is really just ignore the baby, which Ash doesn't really like, but he can understand, as those are really the 2 oldest members of his team. So it would make sense that they really wouldn't want to engage with something that's so young. With things going good, the group finds themselves 3 days later in the site of Ash's next gym badge, Lavier City. This place is also very special because it houses a couple of landmarks. For one, the modern Pokeball factory is here, and this is where pretty much the world's Pokeballs are produced. And second, it houses something that can only be found here in all of the Kalos region. It's said to be the oldest tree, and that tree just so happens to be the site of Ash's next gym battle, as the gym is built into the tree. So after finishing up at the Pokemon Center and making sure that all of his Pokemon are good, Ash, Grant, and Alexa head over to this tree house of a gym battle. Not really sure what to expect when they arrive. However, what they see when they get there is a sight to behold. A young lady in some sort of odd dress with wings that adorn it, and she's very bubbly, introducing herself to Ash and the rest of his group as Valerie, the leader of the gym. And she's very welcoming for somebody who seems to be so young. Ash, being Ash, immediately gets to the point, as his excitement for another gym challenge has kind of overtaken him here. He wants a chance to battle her, because this is his 7th gym badge. If he can clinch it here, that means he will get the ability to battle Karina, again, the Mega Evolution Master, and he can prove to her that he found his own path. However, that's going to have to wait, as Valerie sets the terms and conditions for the gym battle. They will have a 2-on-2. Ash will be allowed substitutions, while she cannot, and the battle will be over when one side's Pokemon are unable to battle. Ash has no problems with this, as every other gym battle has pretty much been set up the same way. So with that, the two take their positions inside of the gym. Ash is super excited. After his last battle with Olympia, which was kind of led with doom and gloom, this one seems pretty straightforward. Unfortunately for him, it's not going to be as straightforward as he would like, as he's dealing with a type that is very rare and very difficult to handle, as Valerie reveals what type specialist she is, sending in her first Pokemon, a Spritzy. This fairy type, though small, does seem to pack a punch as it zips around the battlefield at an amazing speed. However, Ash has the perfect counter for this, as he declares, "Yanmega, I choose you!" The Kalosian bug emerges from its ball in all of its spectacular glory, catching the eye of Valerie. Whoa, what kind of Pokemon is that? This is my Yanmega, Ash says, and believe it or not, it's actually half fairy type. Really? This is something that Valerie, as a type specialist, has never seen, and has her full attention. She begins to show levels of excitement that Ash exudes, and it's quite embarrassing for both Grant and Alexa to have these two both fanboying and growling over Pokemon. Unfortunately, it's not going to stop anytime soon, as Valerie just can't wait to see what this thing can do, to which Ash is more than happy to oblige, as he gives his first command to Yanmega: "Use Fairy Wind." Suddenly, the dragonfly beats its fairy-like wings as a magical gust envelops the area. However, Valerie is no stranger to this moves, as she orders Spritzy to counter with a Fairy Wind of its own. Unfortunately for Yanmega, this Spritzy seems to be on the more powerful side, as its Fairy Wind far outclasses Yanmega's, forcing the bug fairy type into the ground below. Well, that's a shame. I was expecting more, Valerie says in disappointment. However, Ash doesn't seem to be fazed, as he just says, "Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. Yanmega, it's time." The dragonfly bolts back up, seemingly faster than before. So, its ability is Speed Boost, is it, Ash? That's right. And we're going to take full advantage of it right now. Yanmega, it's time to go on the attack once again. Use Air Slash. Beating its wings, Yanmega sends razors of wind careening towards Spritzy, causing Valerie to counter with the Moonblast. Unfortunately, this time, Spritzy isn't quick enough and it's caught in the Air Slash, sending it to the gym floor. What follows is a set of back and forth between the two fairy types, as they try to contest each other's power. Unfortunately for the fairy type specialist, this is where Yanmega's ability is going to come into play, as with each exchange, its speed boost makes its evasiveness that much more intense, allowing it to capitalize, sometimes getting in double attacks on Spritzy. This allows it to outpace the little fairy type, and eventually brings Ash the victory when a Silver Wind catches it off guard, sending it careening into the gym floor below, knocking it out. Now, while most trainers would be sad at a loss, Valerie is actually overexcited about this. She can't believe that this Yanmega has the abilities that it has. Ash is so lucky to have a fairy type like this, and she even compliments him on it. It's very well trained. Ash thanks her for the compliment, telling her that Yanmega is one of his oldest Pokemon, and it is one of his most loyal Pokemon, though it didn't start out that way. He's glad to have it on its team. Well, Valerie can't wait to see what else it can do, and this next Pokemon is going to truly test its capabilities. Mawile, go! Emerging from its ball in a light of brilliance, this oversized mouth Mon hits the field with a level of confidence that Ash has rarely ever seen. He doesn't know what it is, but something about this thing seems uneasy, and he doesn't want to find out what it is. So he chooses to attack from a distance, ordering Yanmega to attack with the Fairy Wind. However, Valerie does nothing to counter this, just allowing her Mon to take it, and the wind just seems to bounce off of Mawile like it wasn't hit. Wait, why didn't that cause any damage? Ash says. Oh, dear me. I was hoping for more of a challenge. Unfortunately, it seems that you're not really familiar with the steel typing, are you, Ash? Well, yeah, I am. I have a steel type of my own. Well, then you should have no problem knowing that steel types are strong against fairies. And Mawile, well, it's half steel, half fairy. This doesn't look too good for Ash, as Valerie sends her ace on the attack as she calls for a vice grip. Ash orders Yanmega to dodge. Though the bug type speed is great, for some reason, Mawile moves at an ungodly pace, outspeeding Yanmega as it clamps its massive jaws down on the bug type, bringing it down to the ground. This leaves it nowhere to go, as the damage that it took in the battle with Spritzy, while not battle ending for it, was still enough to make this vice grip a one-shot, ending Ash's first Mon in one fail swoop. Ash doesn't really know what to say, and Valerie is a bit disappointed. She was hoping that Yanmega would last a little bit longer, and she could see some of its more specialties. Unfortunately, this is a gym battle, and she does have to take it serious. And even though Yanmega is a special fairy type, she's not going to hold back for it or Ash. Recalling his Mon, Ash thanks Yanmega for its battle and all of the hard work it put in. At least it was able to take out one of Valerie's Pokemon. Unfortunately, that now leaves the tall order of who is he going to send in to battle Mawile. It's half fairy, half steel that Ash has come to find out from its Pokédex, and there's not really many options he has on his team that can compete with that. Well, there is one option. Knowing that this is the only way to go, Ash grabs the ball of his one and only fire type. Slugma, I choose you! The fire type hits the field, ready for its first gym battle since Wolfric. It's raring to go, and Ash can see it. However, Valerie has something that she's been holding back for just this type of occasion. Ash, I want you to truly earn my gym badge. This is where she reveals a keystone, and Mawile reveals that in the jaws of its mouth, it houses a megastone. Without hesitation, Valerie activates it, and her ace takes on its mega form in Mega Mawile. If Ash thought it was intimidating before, this new form takes the literal cake, and unfortunately, with Mega Evolution means an increase in power. That really only leaves Ash with one sort of strategy here. He's going to need time, which he has no choice but to create. As the battle gets started, Ash calls for a flamethrower, to which Slugma fires without hesitation. Unfortunately, Mawile's new speed allows it to easily dodge the attack, as it closes the gap and connects with Slugma with an extremely hard play rough. This forces the slug back as it slides from the force of the attack. However, this is what Ash wanted, as he orders Slugma to counter with the only option that they have that can put this battle in their favor. A yawn. A very long and drawn out cry emerges from Slugma as a bubble then envelops Mawile, popping just as quickly as it wrapped the Mega Evolution Pokemon. This is something that Valerie is all too familiar with. She now knows that Mawile is on the clock, so she goes on the attack once more, ordering it to use an Iron Head. Ash has to put up some sort of defense here, as Slugma really doesn't have much defense of its own, so he orders a Rock Throw, trying to detour the Mon in any way that it can. This does cause a little bit of a distraction, forcing Mawile to change up its trajectory, and when its attack finally hits, it's at about half of the power that it normally would be. One turn, Ash thinks. Alright, again, Slugma, use Flamethrower. However, Valerie is quick on the attack once more, ordering another Play Rough. This, however, unfortunately, is connected at full force, again knocking Slugma back, causing it to flinch in pain. Ash isn't sure if the little slug can go on. Unfortunately for him, those hits were very intense ones, and the power of Mega Evolution backing it is also something that Ash has to consider. This is where Valerie reveals an ace in the hole, the ability of her Mawile. Huge power. This doubles the attack of the Pokemon, and with the Mega Evolution stacked on top of that, this means that one more hit and Slugma could be done. Without anything to lose, and the last turn on the clock for the yawn, Valerie orders her Mon in with one final Iron Head. Ash can do nothing as he watches Slugma as it prepares to take the attack. Then something hits him. This increased power comes at a cost. Mawile can't really evade that quickly or change direction once it's charging in. This gives Ash an idea. He orders Slugma to use Flamethrower, but not on Mawile, on the ground below it. Summoning up what left of strength it has, Slugma fires away. This shoots the slug straight into the air as Mawile charges in, being enveloped in the Flamethrower. This catches Valerie off guard as her steel fairy type then succumbs to the yawn, and the Flamethrower envelops it, ending the battle in one odd fail swoop. Both her and Ash can't believe it. Ash didn't think that would actually work, while Valerie had never even really thought that was an option. And now she has to present this guy with her badge, which she happily does so, telling Ash, even though the battle seemed like it was kind of short and she feels like she should have won, she proudly presents him with the fairy badge. Ash can't believe it. This is his 7th badge. That means he gets the chance to re-challenge Karina and truly use the skills that he's earned on this journey to acquire the last badge he would need to compete in the Kalos League. However, unfortunately, this celebration is short-lived as an explosion rocks the gym from above and the roof comes crashing down around them. Dust and debris litter the area as, from the shadows, a very familiar person greets Ash. Well, I didn't expect to see you here, but I'm not here for you at this current time. I'm here for the secret that this gym leader guards. From the stands, both Alexa and Grant can see what's happening, and they know that they have to interfere. Team Flare has arrived, and for whatever reason, they're attacking the gym. Grant is in fear because he feels like they may be after Ash and his Pokemon, while Alexa is afraid for a far different reason, and she has the right to be. As the two decide to split up, they take different paths, trying to run any type of interference that they can. Unfortunately for Alexa, she is one of the targets and the reason why Team Flare is here, as she is quickly subdued and captured by one of the Team Flare scientists, Celosia, before anybody can notice, while Mabel chooses to run the main distraction with her Mega Manectric as she orders it to fire random lightning bolts throughout the arena. This forces Ash and his Pokemon to dodge, while Valerie does what she can to collect her Mawile as it's not really able to move after the battle with Ash. This is when a second explosion rocks the gym. Unfortunately, this isn't from the roof. It's from underneath the gym floor. No, Valerie yells. They can't, but it's too late as a horde of Team Flare grunts descend from above with what looks like ropes. They fall into the hole of the gym floor, and before they know it, something is being hoisted through the smoke. No, they can't take it, Valerie yells, as Mabel does nothing but laugh as she too grabs one of the ropes that are being pulled up into the air. The last thing that Ash, Grant, and Valerie see is Alexa being carried off and what looks like some sort of ancient tree being hoisted away while Valerie is in tears. And that, my friends, is where we're going to leave this part. So, tell me, what did you think about this? How did you feel about Ash's capture with Trubbish? How did you feel about his gym battle and him earning his 7th badge finally? Why did Team Flare finally decide to capture Alexa? And most importantly, what was that giant tree-like object they pulled from beneath the gym in Lavier City? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's all we have for today's episode, everyone. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really hope that you guys will consider hitting the like button and turn on notifications. Don't forget to subscribe as well, so that way you'll never miss another upload from the Ronin Charizard channel. If you guys are interested in other things, why don't you hop on over to Twitter and follow me there? Sometimes I drop behind the scenes stuff that I'm working on in real time. Or you can head over to my Discord where you can possibly get some help with some of your own projects that you're working on. If you guys are feeling a little bit extra generous and you want to help the channel grow, why don't you consider becoming a YouTube channel member or backing me on Patreon? For only $5 a month, you can get up to a week's early access to all of my content, and you'll be helping the channel grow. Not to mention, you'll get exclusive content that I'm putting on those two platforms that aren't available on regular YouTube. With all that being said, it's time to sign out the video the best way we know how, by thanking the patrons and the YouTube channel members. For the Shogun tier, we have Azlight, Chris Lackerman, Christian Anderson, Dylan Nicholson, Forbidden Super, Gear 100, Gray Leo, Holosiv, Indigo Saturn 64, JJ, John Larson, Chrono Cronus 4i, Robert, Treeman, Trent Trolls, Vegito What Ifs, Warney Taylor. For the general tier, we have Adrian Carr, Andrew McCartney, Assassin139, Cameron Dicker, Cammy Stein, Chris Collins, Dylan Silva, plus Ultraman, Dino King, Dylan Wolfdog 31, Earth Dragon, Ifosa Mead, Flyer 943, Fox King, Gerald Smith, Irving 14209, Jack, Johnny, Jody Juster, Josiah Herring, Julian Rodriguez, Justin Ray, Kendall Green, Kevin Atran, Kevin Malula, Lord Explosion Murder, Luke Skyrunner, Mario Pikachu, Megar, Nick Riviero, Normandy 1998, Pokemon Master 123, Ruben Watson, Silver Heart Soul, Stephen Foot, Trainer Rad 164, True Volt, Yasai. And for the Ronin tier, we have James Baldridge Jr. and Just Some Guy 23. For the YouTube channel members, on the Ace tier, we have Nathan Zadro, and for the Ronin tier, we have Brandon Hernandez and Hira Karina, Gouffet 7_69, Robert Ostergaard, and T Bolt for you. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.